today I am happy to do social studies with you. And so I must tell you my name. I am teacher Melinda Hughes. For social studies, we will focus on the topic, the family. However, we will look specifically at places of origin. Places of origin of the family. In this lesson, we will identify the 6 main ethnic groups that came to Guyana, and we will locate on the map of the world from the continents where each ethnic group originated. And so today in this lesson, if you follow very closely, we will be doing some map work. I'll invite you to stay tuned, to stay focused, and also use your notepad or anything that you feel free and comfortable with to take notes, because I am sure what we will be doing today will benefit you in some point of time of your life. So let's get going. Places of origin. The Guyanese society is made up of 6 main ethnic groups. These groups originated from 3 continents, namely Asia, Europe, and Africa. The families that came from these continents are the Amerindians, the Europeans, the Africans, the Portuguese, the East Indians, and the Chinese. I am sure, boys and girls, you are able to list the families that came from the continents of the world. Now let's look at this map. The map of the world on the screen shows us the continents of the world. So we'll start from the far east using the cardinal points. So to the far east, we have the continent that is shaded in green, Asia. Then we move west of Asia. That takes us to Europe. After Europe, we continue moving west, which will take us to the continent of North America. In addition to that, we will move south. South of North America will take us to the continent of South America. Then we go around, we're going east. East of South America, we can identify the continent Africa. As we continue to move, we move southeast of Africa, and there we can identify and locate the continent of Australia. So if you are following closely, we have identified the main continents of the world: Asia, Europe, North America, South America, Africa, and Australia. Of course, there is another one that I did not mention, and that one is right in front of us. That one is Antarctica. That is found to the south. We will look at the Amerindians. The Amerindians came from the continent of Asia. So if we look at the map of the world, we can identify Asia. There, Asia is seen in yellow. And if you follow closely, there is a red arrow that starts at the word Asia. Now, that location identifies where the Amerindians originated from. That area is where Mongolia can be found in Asia. So the Amerindians originally came from Mongolia. How did they arrive in South America, more specifically Guyana? The Amerindians traveled east from Mongolia in Asia. As they moved east where the red arrow points, it identifies the location of the Bering Strait. At that time, boys and girls, the Bering Strait was an ice bridge, and so the Amerindians were able to cross it quite easily on foot. As they crossed the Bering Strait, they traveled west until they arrived in North America. As they arrived in North America, they continued traveling, and so they traveled south all the way across Central America until they arrived in South America. as the Amerindians arrived in South America, they settled in different countries. And so Guyana was one of those countries. So boys and girls, that is how the Amerindians came to Guyana. Where did they originate from? The continent of Asia, and specifically the country of Mongolia. Next, we will look at the Europeans. The Europeans came from the continent of Europe. They came from countries such as England, Holland, France, and Spain. The English who came from England came in search of gold, while the others who came from Holland, France, and Spain came in search of new lands. The Europeans were explorers. So boys and girls, let's look at the map of the world again. On the map of the world, there is a shaded part in red. That red part represents the continent of Europe. And there is where the Europeans came from. They would have sailed across the Atlantic Ocean before arriving in South America, where Guyana can be found. Next, we will examine the origin of the Africans. The Africans were taken from West Africa by the Europeans. They were brought to work on the sugar plantations under the system known as slavery. Some countries they were brought from are Congo, Gambia, Gabon, and Cameroon. So the Africans were brought to South America, where Guyana is located, by the Europeans. Let's look at the map so we can identify where the Africans came from. So on the map, we can see specifically 4 continents. In this case, we can identify Africa, which is located to the south of Europe. So Europe is to the north of the continent of Africa. Then to the west of Europe, we have North America. And so to the south of North America and the west of Africa, we can find South America. Something happened whilst the Europeans brought Africans from the continent of Africa. The Europeans, boys and girls, were involved in trade. And so if you look on the map, you will notice that there are some yellow arrows. Those yellow arrows represent what trade the Europeans conducted or they were a part of, and what they did as they brought Africans from Africa to South America, where Guyana is located. So if we look at the first yellow arrow, that's the one that forms a curve, and it states manufactured cotton. So from Europe, manufactured cotton was taken to Africa. And so from Africa, the Europeans traded with the Africans. And so they took Africans from the continent of Africa, where they enslaved them and brought them to South America. So there's another yellow arrow that is labeled enslaved Africans. That arrow represents the path that the Europeans took as they took slaves in exchange for their manufactured cotton across the Atlantic Ocean. So where did they take them? To the continent of South America and parts of North America. As they went to North America, they took or they exchanged some of what they had for raw cotton. So raw cotton was taken from North America over to Europe. And so those triangles are called or are known as the triangular trade. And so that is how Africans were brought to South America, specifically in Guyana. Where were they brought from? Parts of West Africa, like Congo, Gambia, Gabon, and Cameroon. Next, we will look at the 3 last ethnic groups: the Portuguese, the East Indians, and Chinese. Now, the Portuguese, East Indians, and Chinese were brought to Guyana as indentured immigrants or laborers. However, the Portuguese were brought from Madeira in Europe. So on the map of the world again, we will identify where Europe is located. If you examine it, you will notice that there is a red shaded part. And so that shaded part represents where Europe can be found. And so that's the continent from where the Portuguese were brought. They were brought by the Europeans to South America, where Guyana is found, to work as indentured servants. Next, we will look at the East Indians. The East Indians came from the continent of Asia. They came from Calcutta, Chota Nagpur, and Madras. Those are some parts of India where East Indians were brought from. They were brought as indentured laborers as well. Who brought them? The Europeans. Where did they originate from? India, from the continent of Asia. Next, we will look at the Chinese. The Chinese also came from the continent of Asia. However, they were brought by the Europeans, specifically from China. China, boys and girls, is located in Asia. So let's look at the map of the world. This time, we will identify the continent, yes, boys and girls, where the Chinese and East Indians were brought from. So there on the map of the world, you notice there is Asia, one of the continents, and Asia is shaded in red. That continent represents where the Chinese and the East Indians were brought from. They were brought to South America, where Guyana is located, by the Europeans. So there we have it, boys and girls. The continents from where each ethnic group originated. Let's do a recap. And so as we look at the map of the world, we can identify the continents from where each ethnic group originated. So let's go. The first ethnic group that came to Guyana was the Amerindians. And so the Amerindians originated from the continent of Asia. The next ethnic group was the Europeans. And so the Europeans originated from the continent of Europe as we look at the map of the world. After the Europeans came, we had the Africans. The Africans were brought by the Europeans from the continent of Africa. Next, the Europeans brought the Portuguese. And the Portuguese were brought from the continent of Europe to Guyana. The next two ethnic groups are the East Indians and the Chinese. The East Indians and the Chinese were brought from the continent of Asia. And so we can easily identify the continents of the world from where the ethnic groups that came to Guyana originated from. Boys and girls, I am sure that this was very simple for you because the map of the world provides us with information that tells us where each ethnic group originated from. So boys and girls, I want you to have fun. Go, take an atlas, look for the map of the world and trace it on your own as you identify where each ethnic group originated from. Until next time, boys and girls, have fun.